Hello guys, I am back from another video on the day we're talking about deku was reincarnated into Minecraft. So, in the last video deku, we started off the last episode in a different, perspective. In the perspective of this woman by the name of Animasphere. And apparently she's the leader of this cult, aka the cult of the Illagers or Pillagers or whatever. After that little perspective, Ezekiel with, Olga decide to go to the cave and get some armor for her. After a while, they made it to a little village which has been run down, and apparently the cult has been here before because of the little flags that the entire place has. Several of the houses were burned down, most of the houses were ransacked, but some of them were not destroyed. So Ezekiel and Olga got some stuff out of that, but Ezekiel saw this little statue thing. Not only that, Ezekiel put a pumpkin on that little statue thing, and it transformed into a brand new character, which is a female golem, and all of you guys suggested some names, and so I decided to go for the name Rose because in game it kind of has the ability to bring out a flower in rare occasions. And also, he also during that time when he was going to that little area, the snow biome, he met this Enderman, which I don't have a name for, and all of you guys are going to be picking a name for this Enderman. And so, after they finally get out of that little, rundown village, they moved out with this brand new, with their brand new friend, Rose. And so, let's talk about what happens next. So, Ezekiel, Olga, and Rose, being the golem, they're trekking through the entire, wasteland of the snow biome, where they made it to a weird looking area resembling, well, there's several ice spikes towering over them. Like, it's almost seems eerie, almost like the place looks like it's abandoned. While Ezekiel was looking around, Ezekiel feels something in the distance. As he gets shot by an arrow in the shoulder, Ezekiel grabs the arrow and just pulls it out of his body as Olga says this. What happened to Ezekiel? As Rose, Rose doesn't speak, but does go into a fighting position, wielding a gigantic iron broadsword which Ezekiel made for her. Wait for a second. As Ezekiel clearly sees something in the distance. Skeletons. Just like what happened in the woodland forest where he spawned, or got reincarnated in. But these skeletons seem different. When he got shot by that arrow, he feels a bit slower and feels a bit weak. These skeletons seem a bit different though. Instead of these skeletons' eyes being just, black and hollow, instead these seem to be glowing with ice. One of them seems to speak, and it speaks like this. Alright men, kill them. As these skeletons start wielding their arrows or bows, and gets ready to fire their arrows, Ezekiel tells all of them, both Olga and Rose, to start running away. As all of them start running away from these skeletons, or these variants of skeletons, as all of them disappear. As she says this, damn it, you frickin' guys are useless. As she kicks one of them to the ground and crushes the other skeleton's head, revealing that this person is also an abnormal. And that is what I'm calling these, special types of mobs which resemble anime girls. This woman resembles a, like, just imagine, wait for a second. Just imagine her, looking like the girl from, like, Bleach. The one that has, like, the bottom jaw that resembles, like, a, skull. Yeah, that's what she looks like. But instead of having, like, this dark skin, instead, it's almost a pure, like, almost like, um, porcelain white. Her eyes are colored blue, and her bow resembles, like, just a block of, not really a block of ice, more like a shard that can bend, which is weird to Izuku. As she says this, all of you guys are useless. Now, let's hunt them down before they can escape. As these skeletons, or at least some of them, are riding on these skeleton-like horses. As she rides on one of them, as they say this, it's time for the hunt. Now, let's hunt down our prey. As they started riding off, as Ezekiel, Olga, and Rose started running away from these crazy people, or monsters. So, while they're running away, Ezekiel grabs one of his arrows and shoots out a, well, a netherite arrow at one of them, causing one of them to basically die and fall, causing the horse to basically run rampant and accidentally killing many others. Thankfully, the woman, or the abnormal mob, basically just destroys it, as she says this. You call yourselves strays? Pathetic. I'll do it myself. Now, if you don't mind me just killing that boy, well, wait for a second, guys. Wait for a second. Sorry about that. Um, she says, if you don't mind me killing that boy, well, you should start running, because he will be my brand new prey. As she starts going out there and trying to find Ezekiel by herself. So, when Ezekiel was with, well, with the rest of his, well, team being, well, Olga and also Rose, they were resting on one of these ice pillars. Ezekiel, after getting shot by that arrow, felt a bit slower, but it seems that the effect of that arrow basically disappeared. As Ezekiel just says this, ow, my arm. Ugh. As Olga says this, let me get the bandages. She grabbed some paper during that time when they were in the, in the rundown village. Village. As she grabs, like, several pieces of paper which she turned into bandages. After wrapping Izuku's arm with bandages, Izuku decides to get up and starts telling, well, both of them that we should try and escape that, well, that crazy group of skeletons. As, well, Olga says this, well, they're not technically skeletons. Izuku says this, pardon me? As she says this, well, they're not technically skeletons, more like a variant of skeleton. As Izuku just says this, a variant of skeletons? As she says this, yeah, they're called, wait for a second, they're called strays. Strays are basically, skeletons, but have the ability to cause frostbite, but not only that, the ability to cause a person to just slow down to the point that they become, well, you. But thankfully the effect just runs out maybe like a few minutes. As Izuku just says this. Oh, thank God. As they hear footsteps, they start hiding and start being quiet. As they hear the sound of a woman. Alright, if you don't want to die early, then you should come out. I'll make your death slow and painless. As Izuku just says this to her, you're daring to fight me? I'm technically stronger than you. As she says this, found you. As she grabs her bow and starts getting ready to shoot at that direction where that voice came from. As Izuku jumps out, wielding his axe, and destroying that arrow that's being fired at him, as she says this. Impossible. As Izuku goes on top of her while putting his boot on her chest. As Izuku just says this. Now, mind telling me why you're trying to attack us? As she says this. The reason why we're attacking you is because you're human. You're not from here, right? As Izuku just says this. You're right, but why are you attacking us? As she says this. Well, I don't like you people. You're nothing more than prey to me. But I can certainly just call you just nothing more than, Ken Father. As Izuku just says this. Why, you little? As she says this. Oh, come on. Won't you just be nice to me? After all, I'm technically one of their most powerful elites. And what if they actually know about you killing their best elite? They would probably just hunt you down no matter where you are. So, I think it's better for you. I think it's better for you to just let me live. So, as Izuku, wielding his axe and shaking, as he says this, fine. As she says this, wonderful. Now, I'll be going. As when Izuku turns his back around and starts going back to his little group, she grabs her bow and gets ready to shoot at him. As she shot the arrow, Izuku swings back and throws the arrow out of course by using his axe. As Izuku lunges forward and almost causing the axe to go through her neck. As Izuku just says this, now, daring to hurt me while my back is turned is quite pathetic for you. She says this. The hell. As Izuku just says this. Now, anyway, I should be leaving. As the rest of this, stray group appears, wielding their bows as they started shooting at this girl, this abnormal mob. As she says this, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm supposed to be your leader, you damn... As one of them wields their bow, as it shoots through her chest. Not killing her, but, just, shocking her. Izuku grabs her, thankfully not causing her to, fall to the ground, as he tells, Rose to bring her somewhere else. As for those other strays, Izuku will gladly kill all of them. And so, it was just a slaughter. Izuku just destroys all of those strays with nothing more than his axe and his crossbow. And so, after defeating them, Izuku leaves as he sees that skeleton horse without an owner. As Izuku sees that it already has a saddle on it. Wait for a second, guys. Something happened. Wait for a second. Sorry about that. So, after defeating all of those, strays, Izuku looks over and sees a horse, a skeleton horse to be more precise. And Izuku looks and sees that he already comes pre-installed with a saddle. So, Izuku rummaged through his chest and finds that, diamond horse set that he gotten from, that, little dungeon during those days when before he met, Olga and, Rose. So, after grabbing that, Izuku decides to put it on this horse, and now he has his own mount. So, after going back to his group, and sees Olga carrying to tending to to the abnormal stray, and Rose just looking at her, they see that Izuku's now riding on this skeleton horse. As Olga says this, "Whoa, you actually have a mount now." As Ezekiel just says this, yeah, but I don't mean it. I think it's better for you to just ride on it. After all, you might be tired of just, walking. As she says this, thank you. As Ezekiel just says this, you're welcome, but don't worry. It's nothing like, I'm a tyrant or anything. As she says this, um, okay. So, she rides on the horse as it was a bit troubling on how to, control it. But don't worry, she learns to, um, take care of the horse. And now she's able to ride on this skeleton horse that Ezekiel gave. So, after doing that, they decide to leave the snow biome as they made it to a little beach. This beach is quite calming as Ezekiel decides to let this abnormal stray rest here. So, after making a little house here, because, he wants to get some rest, Ezekiel decides to get some sleep, and so he goes to sleep. When he wakes up, it's literally just nighttime. It's literally just nighttime. So, after Ezekiel waking up, he sees Rose and Olga talking to the stray. As Ezekiel just says this, so, Miss Stray, or as she says this, oh, just call me Wise. Wait for a second. Sorry about that. She calls herself Wise. As Ezekiel just says this, so, Wise, why did you attack us in the first place? As she says this, well, it's our nature to attack people like, well, people like you and many other creatures. But I was never normal, because I was not skeletal and things most associated with strays. I was considered an outcast, but I was also pretty powerful. So they just tolerated me. Until that day when I met you, where you actually defeated me, and they decided to just kill me off. You saved me. I'm grateful. As Ezekiel just says this, oh, don't worry, after all, I mean, in this new life, at least I'm trying to be a hero. As they see this, what do you mean? As Ezekiel just says this, well, I was reincarnated. As one of them being, well, Olga says this, wait, you're a reincarnator? As Ezekiel just says this, a reincarnator? As she says this, yeah, reincarnators are pretty rare these days. Ever since that little incident with this man by the name of Stephen Stone, well, let's just say he's, or at least many reincarnators have been, never been appearing for a while now. But ever since you came here, well, mm, let's just say this world has been different. Like after Stephen Stone has died, the pillager cult started growing, and then these creatures known as piglins started arriving and terrorizing the place. When they got here to the human world, or the overworld as we prefer to call it, these piglins started transforming into former selves, transforming into infected, or we prefer to call them sub zombie piglin. As Izuku says this, really, as she says this, exactly. It's pretty weird. As Weiss says this, so, have you ever, heard about their cult? As Izuku just says this, whose cult? Do you mean the pillager cult? As she says this, yes, this cult is filled with horrible, horrible people. They only want this control. And ever since, well, Stephen Stone has died, because he was the one who created all of these villages and bring prosperity to this world. Let's just say he's been rising ever since he died. They started taking over villages and destroying them, putting up outposts, and even creating these specialized creatures made from hostages of theirs, called Ravagers. And apparently, I heard from one of my old chieftains that they're planning on making these specialized iron golems known as redstone golems. As Izuku just says this, really, as she says this, yeah, they're absolutely dangerous. Considered as one of their most powerful items, I've heard that these redstone golems don't need to be infused with iron anymore to be repaired, but instead can regenerate. As Rose feels a bit angry, like Izuku does look at her, like even though she does look like even though she looks like calm outside, but seeing her hands just like clenching into fists definitely knows that means that Rose is definitely pissed off. So, after being told of this, Izuku was a bit terrified of that little prospect. And so, Izuku tells all of them to maybe get some rest for now, because it's better for them to start going on, well, a different area very soon. And so, after that, they basically gone to sleep, and in the morning, after tearing down the house down, because they're not going to be living there yet, they started to go into the ocean instead, using the leftover wood from that old house, or the house that they made on the ocean, so they can create a little thing. And this thing is some boats. These boats can carry two people. In this case, one of them is going to be sitting with Izuku, and the others are just going to sit with each other. All three of the girls, like not all three of the girls specifically, just like two of them, being Olga and Weiss, started fighting over who's going to be sitting with Izuku. As well, wait for a second. Again, sorry about that. Sorry about that. One of them being, well, Rose, said that she wants to sit with, Izuku, as Izuku allows it, as both of them basically say, what? As they decide that they're gonna be sitting with each other, while the horse is just going to be like, you know, they're gonna be putting him in another boat, where they're just going to, like, just, put a lead on him, and just put it on the other boat, and they started leaving. And now they're going on an ocean trip. So, while they're on the ocean, they see some different types of sights. Like, for example, some dolphins going out of the water, basically jumping over them. Even seeing some interesting areas, like, for example, a little coral reef, and also a weird looking thing under the ocean. But Izuku couldn't tell. After that, they made it onto a different island. And this island was a bit different. This island seems to be a jungle. And so, when they stepped onto the island and got their boats, they started going into this island. And in this island is going to be the end of the episode. Sorry, this is going to be the end of this episode. So, I'm gonna be talking about what is going to be, like in the next episode of this, What If series. We're gonna be talking about what happens to them in the, jungle. And maybe even meeting a brand new friend. And so, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye!